from the News Channel 5 network and Out and About Nashville. This is Out and About Today, sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Hi, I'm Pam Wheeler, and welcome to a Zoom edition of Out and About Today. As of tonight's recording, Nashville remains in a modified phase 2 in our roadmap for reopening. Restaurants and bars offer limited services with reduced hours and guests. Metro Nashville Public Schools will remain in a virtual learning environment until at least fall break. Tonight, we will check in with Chris Sanders, Executive Director of the Tennessee Equality Project, and we'll hear from a couple raising a first grader in the remote learning environment. We're going to hear how they're surviving and thriving in these past 5 months of the pandemic. But first, let's catch up with Chris Sanders. Chris, welcome to the show.
Well, it's good to see you, Pam.
It's good to see you. It's been a while. And before we get to the business of TEP, let's just talk about Chris Sanders. How are you doing? How would you describe the past 5 months? Not TEP, and you personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it is a challenge. I think we're all feeling stress in ways that we perhaps didn't. I think it's affected my sleep, and I hear from a lot of other people that it's affected their sleep. And I think the stress, I feel like I'm drying out, literally. I mean, I get these weird dry patches on my skin, and I wish in the 90s I'd paid more attention to those commercials on combination skin and all that stuff. But, you drink more water, you sleep when you can, and you do what you can. One thing that I have done, and I think it's been really helpful for me, is I have set a very strong boundary. I'm taking weekends off, and I'm not doing any work. I'm focusing on the things that I want to do in life personally during that time, and that has helped me retake some aspects of the pandemic back. Not everything. It's still very hard, but we all need to find those things that we can do that really sort it out for us.
Right. I think I did catch that on social media, that you're taking that time for yourself. I think that's great. Can you share with our viewers anything you've accomplished? Maybe, I'm still talking personal here, something that you've accomplished, maybe a habit you've broken, either way. What's been going on in your world?
Yeah, it's really boring, but I mean, since June 1, I've read 16 books, and they're hard books, and I'm trying to fill in gaps, in my own education. And I think, for me, lifelong learning is very important. And when you're plunged into the midst of work and you're not taking time for yourself, you will not refresh and not improve. And I easily can get in that habit, but the pandemic has allowed me to step back and reevaluate and, rethink a lot of things. And I'm sure that's been true of a lot of people.
Yes, for sure. So 16 books, I'm right there with you. I probably have read, I don't want to brag, but more than that. But I can assure you my reading is very light. I've read a lot of the books on Trump, which I consider light reading. Is there a book recommendation that you have out there for our viewers or me, anyone?
There's not, because they are so intensely boring unless you're trying to fall asleep, and I can send you the list. But, these are books in thinking about the issue of narrative, of thinking about how we characterize experience. They're books on, our place in the greater scheme of things. So, for a lot of people, they'd be very boring. I say read whatever you want. I don't like to put pressure on people, especially during a pandemic. But I think everybody should be reading something. I don't care whether it's comic books or what. But anything that can take you away, broaden your experience, and then reconnect you, I think is good. So I would not presume.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So let's talk TEP. You've been executive director since 2013. Of course,
Yep.
This is an unusual, unique, unexpected year. at least looking back at this point last year. I can take guesses of how you're meeting, collaborating, fundraising, doing all the things. It just how are you working through this with your team?
Right. One thing we're doing is we've said no in-person meetings for the foreseeable future anywhere in the state. The pandemic is at different levels in Tennessee, and we've said no in-person meetings. We're going to look at some outdoor quick meetings in October around the election to encourage early voting. Those will require masks. They will have to be outside, and they will have to be quick to limit people's exposure if we do them. But for days on the Hill next year, unless there's a vaccine, what I anticipate is that we will do phone meetings for those district captains to meet with their legislators. And those will be very intentional phone meetings, but we are adapting to that situation. We are doing more campaigns, email campaigns around pandemic issues in the different counties. Since they have the authority to do masks, we have done campaigns in specific counties urging their county mayors to adopt a mask mandate. We have done campaigns to the governor to be transparent about school COVID-19 data, and he's gone back and forth on that because we believe the pandemic affects our community a bit more than the mainstream community. A lot of our community are frontline employees, whether that be in the service industry or in healthcare. We all have friends who are in healthcare or in the service industry, and lots of them. And we need to do our part to protect them. So as well as LGBTQ issues, we have added a lot of advocacy around COVID-19. And that has really kept our members engaged, but doing something I think that needs to be done.
Right. It sounds like you're adapting, and that makes sense. We have to take a short break, but when we come back, there'll be more with Chris Sanders and TEP. Stay with us.